No matter what your plans are for the new year, there's one tradition many uphold. I'm talking about making New Year resolutions. The first day of the year is the perfect time to reprioritize one's life and set goals for the months to come. This is why people worldwide make New Year resolutions in an attempt to improve their lives. Common resolutions are to exercise more, eat healthier, save money, lose weight and reduce stress. Yet, many would agree that most people won't stick to these resolutions. This pessimism is somewhat justified, as only 4% of people report following through on all of these resolutions they personally set. When setting New Year resolutions, many people end up with a long list of simple ones without thinking deeply about what it takes to sustain these throughout the year, and indeed, where each resolution will take them. Experts, however, say linking an immediate goal with a longer-term aim can sustain progress. For example, thinking about what or who you want to become can help you decide which resolutions to make. The question is, why is the resolution personally meaningful? And why do people often fail in keeping these resolutions which they make voluntarily? This and other questions will be our focus as we x-ray the topic New Year resolutions and expectations. Happy New Year and welcome to the first Nigeria Today of 2020 and indeed the decade. I am Dennis Adigunloye. And joining me in the studio to discuss New Year resolutions and expectations is James Komolafe, a behavioral expert and cognitive behavioral therapist. He is also the CEO, Saba Resources. You're very welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you so very much, Dennis, and Happy New Year to the NTA family.
Thank you. All right, let's begin with your take on this concept of New Year resolutions.
Wow, profound. You know, today being the first day of the year, many people out there are under the euphoria of, my New Year resolution, and before you know it, before you say Jack, you'll find a long list, array of what I will do, what I will not do in the new year, and all of those things. They are good. From the behavioral health perspective, every day is a resolution day, because just as you breathe in oxygen and you take out carbon dioxide, so also you build your energetic life and you also burn it. But suffice it to say, a new year as this is a time for a new beginning. And so, the issue is that people will need to plan to say, okay, let me plan my new year, because of the popular maxim that says, when you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. But on very many occasions, people miss out big time on the critical fundamentals of New Year resolution. New Year resolution is not necessarily a talk. It is a walk. It is a science, and it is also an art, until you are able to master and marshal out your energies, giving your personality, who you are, for what you do, and the circumstances around you. You are not good to go setting New Year resolutions. So in New Year resolutions, what do you do actually? You sit yourself down under the principle of deliberate intention, because life calls for an intentional living. I want to do this, I want to achieve that, I want to do this. And three variables come to mind. In a wisdom book, a king said, so teach us to number our days, that we may apply our heart to wisdom. And that is the foundational concept for New Year resolution. There is the necessary condition, and of course, there is the sufficient condition. What is the necessary condition, Dennis? The teaching of wisdom. And then, secondly, the application. So the two goes hand in hand. One is science, the other one is the art aspect of it. And in New Year resolution, necessarily, it is 70% science and 30% art. In other words, New Year resolution is 70% psychology.
Okay.
That which has to do with your mind, the way you think, the way you reason, the way you feel, given your circumstances and your situation. And it is 30% mechanics, the way you do things. So when you juggle this together, putting the appropriate framework, then you can be able to say whether you are good to go for New Year resolution or not. So 3 variables are involved in that phrase. Teach us to number our days that we may apply our heart. So I want to say, if you want to be successful in doing New Year resolution, it must be a matter of the heart. Because in life, the heart of the matter, Dennis, till tomorrow, is the matter of the heart. When the heart is captured, then the entire life will be captured. So what are these 3 variables from that phrase? 1 is ability.
Okay.
You need to be able to put in proper perspective what is your ability now. And that talks about your energy life. The way you do things on a daily basis. Your ability, your quotient, your talent, your equipping, personal equipping. What are the gifts around you, internally and externally? They have to come to play. Before you just scribble something down and say, oh, I've been doing this, I don't want to do it anymore. You can even make up your mind and still crash along the line once the ability quotient is not thoroughly examined. Now, what's the second variable in New Year resolution? It is the activity quotient. While the ability quotient talks about what you possess and what you have for what you want to do, activity says, what are you about doing? What are the lines of work, assignment, deeds that you want to put in place in line with your ability? And then, so why activity is what you do, ability is what you have to do, what you want to do.
So what's the third variable?
The third variable is your reality. And that is where many people buy the dust when it comes to New Year resolution. They don't look at their internal environment and the external environment with which they work. So they model up things before time. They just discover that events that they don't even budget for will just come and crash their New Year resolution. And before June, or why even going to June, before February 1 or January 5th, you soon discover that you are hitting the rocks simply because the reality quotient is not brought to play. So in personal equilibrium, when it comes to behavioral health excellence and fundamental, we check your ability, what you possess, your activity, what you do, and the circumstances around you, which is your reality.
All right, given this scientific perspective you've given on resolutions, in your experience, do you feel that generally people are not able to stick to these 3 cardinal principles of resolutions, these variables that you refer to?
It's not enough to even know them. You have to know the metrics behind them. That is why New Year resolution till tomorrow adduces to simple arithmetic. Teach us to number our days, not our year. The year now is what we want to break down into months, into weeks, into days, into hours, into minutes, and into second. And in the behavioral health balance, every single tick-tock of the clock matters a whole deal, because one action can either define you or defile you. And by defilement, we are not talking of the moral rectitude or the moral go of it, but once you shift from your original self on the inside, we call it violation. And from violation, you begin to enter some little emotional potholes, which we call deviation. And before you know it, you begin to make some emotional rituals that have not captured your heart. And that is what is responsible majorly for the sudden collapses of New Year resolution. And to worsen situation, Dennis, people go now not only from sudden collapses in New Year resolution, they also literally and physically collapse.
Wow.
Just because of the mismatch of their activity, ability, and reality. So what do we do to put this in shape for people? You have to know the underlying factor in these three variables. And what are the underlying factors? One, we have to check your SMART principle, where S means specific, M means measurable, A means articulate, R means realistic, and T means time-bound. Now, what we do for people who wants to set their behavioral status quo as far as New Year resolution is concerned is to freely offer to serve a psychometry where all of these variables are taken into consideration.
All right, let's just break this down to a level where, let's say the viewers can understand a lot of what you're saying is like a lot of scientific.
You have to set SMART goals.
In terms of, in your experience, would you say more often than not people are keeping to these resolutions throughout the year, or like you're saying?
From our research in the behavioral health hub out there, many people don't keep to it, not because they don't want to, but because they simply lack what it takes to do it. So mathematics, a little calculation is involved, a little bit of psychology is involved, and a little bit of the behavioral health is involved. When you juggle this together with a little economics, then you'll be able to arrive at it. Because the essence is not to fix it, but it's to be able to power your day, your month, your year, and to ensure that you draw down on all of those items you listed. So whether from the to-do angle or from not to-do angle.
All right, so from the outset, you're basically saying that people are not really understanding fully what they are getting themselves into when it comes to making
they just carry on the emotional ritual because it has become a ritual. On 1st January, you go to church or wherever and raise your hand and do all of the praying without the performing. So that's why we're here to say, you see, prayer without performance will lead to a playboy just running around the circles and going nowhere. And at the end of the day, you will blame Satan, you will blame your friend, you will blame Nigeria, you will blame government, and you blame everybody
not look at yourself
over your error.
All right,
so there are so many behavioral errors there in the public place, in the family unit, even in this place. Behavioral error everywhere because people simply don't know what to do, so they do it wrongly.
All right, we'll continue shortly. This is quite an interesting topic. We're seeing a new perspective on resolutions, this scientific perspective that you'll bring into us. Quite interesting. We'll take a break now to hear the people's views and expectations from the new year in this Vox Pop, put together by Abdul Karim Zurmi.
I would expect the leaders to listen to the masses. You cannot be a leader without listening. I am also a leader. I lead in my community, I lead women, I'm a role model to also my children and so many other people. The first thing I do is to listen. If you don't listen to them, you are about to make mistakes. Because up there you may not know what's going on. But when you read the newspapers, when you listen to the news, you see the cries of people. They should listen to us in 2020.
If you watch the Nigerian economy, we will hear in the paper trillions, this and that, but when we look at if you go to the market, you can't find anything. Things are growing high. Let the GDP, let them work at the GDP. Let everything come down to the normal level so that even from the grassroots, everybody will feel it. I think if the presidency and then all the parasitors and ministries will work more on practical aspect of their project, I think Nigerian will grow to the higher stage.
Basically, all goes down to economic. Because as a businessman, as a worker, as a student, if the economy shifts, certainly everything that has to do with finances will shift, positively or negatively. So we just hope for a better economic system.
in 2020, we hope to see that the rule of law is properly, obeyed to the letter, whereby one has a great, what do you call it, great confidence in the judiciary, and also we also expect the executive to be able to come up with good policies that will better the downtrodden. Those are the masses, the people who the masses should be put in the fore before any decision is actually made.
All right, welcome back. We're still in the studio with James Komot-Lafay, behavioral expert and cognitive behavioral therapist. James, you heard some thoughts of some Nigerians there on their expectations of this new year that we've just entered.
Yes, from the government.
Yes, give us your take on some of the things that they've said.
Well, very necessary and vital. But what we're still saying is that government should leverage whatever is coming out from the society and plan bigger and better for the populace. Just like I did say, that the ability one possesses will determine the activity he does, given some certain realities. Now, our government is borrowing money, fund, to finance so many things. There is actually nothing bad in borrowing. But what is bad there is that when we borrow and we are not focused as to giving critical infrastructure, fixing the road, power, and all of those things, then a kind of a lean management will happen to the fund. And before you know it, we will be staking the lives of generations yet unborn. So I quite sympathize with them, but I like to say it's not just from the government perspective. They should also sit down to look at what ability they have. Because what is government? We are government. From your own angle, you are under a particular regime that guides your life. You are supposed to create value per day and fix society. In fact, Dennis, for anybody who wants to fix New Year resolution should come under an acronym, not a political party now, APC. And you might need to know what is this APC you must come under in 2020. If you must fix your life, fix your family, fix the nation, fix your priority right. A is appreciation.
Sure.
You should begin to sit yourself down and appreciate who are you. What powers do you carry? What are the quotients? What are the gifts you have? Where are your critical core competencies for which you want to make for P? And what is P? Penetration.
Yep.
Where are you going to penetrate in 2020?
Yep.
And in penetration, you create values. You add values. You multiply values. See, these are not the days of finger pointing. To say the government is not doing this, the government is not fixing this. See all our youths. I hate to hear such utterances in this 2020. We want to see vibrant youths who are out there solving problems, creating the ICT hub and creating the Silicon Valley in Nigeria. I don't want to see no youth saying, I'm carrying my certificate. No, we should live by certificates. Our youth should penetrate into their deeper self and bring out values that will reorientate Nigeria and create values and create the jobs, because creativity is the mother of productivity.
Is that the C?
So that is the P.
Yep.
The
Penetration
P,
is
it
the
is
P.
penetration.
And what is the C?
AP. C is contribution.
Okay.
And that is a natural consequence. By the time you carry your A, you carry your P, of course you will look for your C. Your C will just add up. And what do you do in C? You contribute. These are not the days, especially 2020. If I have my way, Dennis, I will sit the critical stakeholders down and create a national forum to show our youth what they carry to contribute. These are not the days of share accumulation. What can I get? What can Nigeria do for me? No, 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 no. We should begin to ask ourselves, how can we repair Nigeria? And youth should not wait until they are called to rule. No, 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 no. Leadership
Starts now.
Starts now, and it begins from you. You are failing in self-leadership in the simple issue of New Year resolution. I'm sorry. You are not going to only suffer a collapse and subsidence in your New Year resolution. You will eventually collapse yourself. Sure. Because a little here, a little there of the New Year resolution deficit, we are amount to personality collapse. And that's why in these days, even our youths are not free from hypertension. Yep. Sudden collapses, sudden runs into depression. All these things are not just demonic activity going out there, but people lack what to do. They don't know what to do, so they do it the wrong way.
All right. Well,
and so we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we must come to a round table to sit ourselves down to say, this is Nigeria, this is me. I am not here by accident. I am here, I'm a fixer, and I want to fix it. We should explode in 2020 through APC.
Absolutely. I like this acronym that you came up with.
Thank
appreciation, penetration, and contribution. No doubt many segments.
That is the key word.
Yeah, no doubt many segments of the society appreciate the present administration in their efforts with regards to economic development, infrastructural growth, and all the rest of it. And no doubt penetration is also a key factor in this
very vital.
present
penetrate
administration.
Every stakes.
Sure.
Every forum.
And like you say, contribution on
the
part of the masses. Yeah.
Can contribute. I'm out for contribution, not for accumulation. Every single thing I know, I want to see how the next person can benefit from it and come out and come up. To creating the necessary value that will change the psyche of Nigeria, so that we can affect the space as we create the fora out there. So New Year resolution is very basic.
All right, let's talk about your own expertise. How can people like yourself mentor? Or how do people like yourself mentor
we've
people
mentored and trained a whole lot of youths in this nation across board. We've entered the organized private sector. We're in government circle where they listen to us. You see, charity, I don't know, even though it begins at home, but once it doesn't have that coloration of one Mark Fassin from Europe or one Grigori from the Western climes, and you just see one Komola Fedin, you just throw it away and you say they know nothing. No, no. Nigerians can only fix Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's good borrowing funds in order to create economic activities. But what do we have in situ? What do we have in the house matters a whole lot. We should not push aside local content.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to work seriously with NTA this year to create many local content for hubs, so that our youths can come up and come out and really flex their muscle to change this nation.
Yeah, this border closure certainly engendering that philosophy of looking inwards.
Thank you so very much, Dennis. We'll be a part of it if you allow us.
Absolutely. Just briefly, your final words of advice to the Nigerians in terms of sustaining their resolutions for this year.
Very important and critical. That's why every youth and the active demography out there who is passionate and you want to be able to tick all of your checklist by December 31 for achievement, please, on a free tone, we are ready, we are passionate to serve you. Just get my Gmail account or Yahoo account, James1KOM at yahoo.com. I will send you the behavioral toolkit for efficiency and effective New Year resolution. From there, you'll be able to see the portrait of yourself, and from there, you'll be able to hit the ground running and do the right thing at the right time. New Year resolution is not a talk. It is a product of a walk. We must look at your SMART goals. We must look at your SWOT analysis. And in fact, that's where I like to round up. Actually, there is a work we've done over the years, that we can send to anybody who is willing to read and study and come up. You see, we'll marry together your SWOT analysis, where we look at your current strength, your weaknesses, the opportunities available to you, and your threat quotient, and help you move from threat to opportunities and from weaknesses to strength, so that from where you are now, you can begin to pitch for where you want to be by December 31.
No problem. All right, James Komolafe, behavioral expert and cognitive behavioral therapist. Many thanks for your expertise.
Thank you so much.
And insights on this topic of New Year resolutions and sustaining them.
Good to be here.
You're welcome. And also thanks to our viewer for being with us. As always, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. You can also catch this and other episodes on our YouTube address, youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Dennis Adigunle. Once again, Happy New Year. Thank you, sir.
You mean we didn't use 15?